We've been going through a series of life changes over the last two and a half years. We've been trying to start a family, and so now we are for the first time jumping into IVF, feeling primarily excitement and just a little bit of nervousness. At the doctor's appointment, ultrasound, blood work, got the all clear to proceed with the next phase, which is now going to be the stimulation phase of IVF, and so that is when the injections start. And so tonight I will be starting the injections for the first time. I wanted to share, it's been kind of a roller coaster getting to this point. Was feeling kind of stressed out about starting the injections and just the whole process, especially when the giant box of medication shows up at your door. It's just kind of overwhelming. And then of course you see all the needles and you're like, my thought was like, wow, do I really have to inject myself this many times? Lots of waves of emotions. So tonight we will start injections and I will report back. So wherever you are on the journey, I want to remind you to be kind to yourself. For sure, just trying to spend more time kind of tuning into my body, even just one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and breathing, whether I'm lying down or sitting up. My daily meditation practice has been super helpful. Good morning. Today is the day of my egg retrieval. So I have not been able to eat or drink anything for the last 8 hours. I actually slept really well last night. We're just getting ready to head out to the clinic. My egg retrieval is today at 11 a.m. We're gonna be leaving any minute now. Sam and I just did a meditation together. I'm wearing my Lakshmi necklace that I got in Bali. She is the goddess of good fortune and abundance. I'm excited. I definitely have been feeling pretty bloated for the last 4 days. Yesterday I was very tired. So feeling positive and hopeful. On my ultrasound on Friday they saw 23 follicles. I guess tomorrow I will find out about fertilization, and then in a week we'll find out how many made it to the blastocyst, which is basically becoming an embryo. Hey everyone, as promised, I am returning to let you know about how things went with my egg retrieval yesterday. And they called me in pretty much right on time, and I got dressed in a gown. They took my vitals and then put my IV in, and then basically they wheeled me into another room, put a mask on my face, and I was pretty much out. When I woke up, I was back in the room where they took my vitals. It let me know that, everything went well, and they got 22 eggs. So all total, I had about 8 days of stimulation shots, and then I triggered on the 9th day. It was a relatively short stimulation phase for me. Some people go longer, some people have shorter than anticipated. So of the 22 eggs, I got a call today and they told me that 19 were mature, and that of those 19, that 9 fertilized. Now we have to wait another week to let me know how many make it to the blastocyst phase. So feeling pretty hopeful right now. As far as post-op symptoms, I'm definitely very bloated. When we got home, I kind of just laid with a heating pad and a heated blanket and kind of just read. And the pain has been really manageable. Mostly just felt like a bad period. Today I'm still kind of in some pain. More so my back just hurts because I haven't been able to sleep on my side, which is how I usually like to sleep. Definitely just feeling kind of like a heaviness in my abdomen. All in all, I'd say it was pretty straightforward procedure. Really looking forward to finding out how many embryos we have, and fingers crossed. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how, that's how my procedure went. Of course, everyone is different, but in case you're feeling anxiety or wondering, how it was for someone else, I just thought I'd share. Hi everyone, and welcome back. This is the follow-up video to discuss the results of my IVF cycle. I had 22 eggs that were retrieved. I had 19 that were mature. I had 9 fertilized. Then a week later, they called us to tell us that we had 5 blastocysts. That means there's 5 embryos. And then you send them off for PGTA testing if you are doing PGTA testing, which is just genetic chromosomal testing. And from that, we resulted 2 elupoid, which means viable embryos, 1 mosaic, and the other 2 were considered non-viable. So from there, my doctor instructed us that if we wanted multiple children, that we should probably do 1 more egg retrieval. So since we had coverage, we decided we would do 1 more egg retrieval. So we did them back to back. So my first egg retrieval happened in March, and then pretty much right after I got my period, we started the process for my second egg retrieval, and that happened in April. And from that egg retrieval, we had 17 eggs, 9 were fertilized, 6 blastocysts, so 1 more blastocyst than the first embryo or egg retrieval. And from the 6 embryos, 2 were elupoid and 2 were mosaic, and 2 were considered non-viable. So at this point, we felt comfortable proceeding. After that, we ended up finding out that I had a polyp on my uterus, and the doctor was concerned that this would disrupt an embryo from implanting. Small chances, but she wanted to make sure we had the best possible outcome. So they scheduled me for surgery, I believe it was early May, to remove the polyp from my uterus. And from there, we proceeded to the embryo transfer. And so we did transfer 1 healthy embryo, a elupoid embryo, on May 24th. And from there, we had to wait 10 days to get my first pregnancy test at the clinic. I personally did not test at all in the waiting period. They tell you not to. A lot of people still take at-home pregnancy tests. I just didn't want to know. I kind of just wanted to wait until the moment when the clinic was going to give me the official answer. So then 10 days later, you come in, I think it was June 3rd at this point, and they had me do blood work. From there, they tell you what your HCG levels are. And my HCG levels were really strong. I think they were in the 300s, if I remember correctly. So basically confirm pregnancy. And then they have you come back 2 days later to make sure that it's doubling. And I think at that point it had reached like 900. So really good signs, really strong HCG levels. I don't know if you can tell in the video, I can't remember if you can see, but I am actually 9 months pregnant, and I'm in the nursery right now. So we're actually at the very end of this journey, and we still have 2 weeks left, and then we will have an induction at 28 weeks. And that's just because I've just recently developed gestational hypertension. So really exciting. I hope that this gives you some sense of hope on your journey, or at least an idea of what the process is like. I think what I found the most daunting about IVF was not only the shots and having surgery when I'm a person who never really had any surgery, but also the attrition, as they call it, which is like a horrible word, but the attrition from your egg retrieval and like how many eggs they retrieve to how many embryos you end up with. Because there were 22 eggs retrieved, and by the end we had 2 elupoid embryos. And I think that the percentage goes 60% likely to result in live birth from a elupoid embryo, and it drops to, I believe, 30% if it's a mosaic embryo. But since we have, well, before we implanted this baby, we had 4 elupoid embryos, and that was plenty in the doctor's mind for the fact that we want 2 children. So that's the story. I hope that this is helpful. I know it's a very difficult time and it can be very lonely. I found that a lot of my friends who had kids without any kind of complications or infertility diagnoses had a really hard time reaching out to me, it seemed, and I felt really abandoned by those friendships. Now I understand it's just that people don't know how you, as the person going through infertility, will face it or how you want to be supported. So it's probably best to communicate to those close friends and family members how best they can support you. I personally wanted people to be checking in with me, asking me how the process was going, and asking me how I was doing emotionally. I felt like I didn't want to be the person to reach out and constantly be talking about the one thing that was on my mind, which is this going to actually work? And is it going to be worth it in the end? So that's just my 2 cents. Many blessings on your journey. It is a really difficult journey. I haven't had my baby yet, but I will tell you that pregnancy has been a really beautiful experience. And for me, it's been relatively uncomplicated up until this very end with this gestational hypertension. But up until then, it's been a very easy pregnancy, I would say. So that's been really great, and just the excitement after almost 3 years of trying to conceive and finally being at this point is pretty incredible. So you can do it, and trust in yourself. You're stronger than you think, and you can do hard things.